Donkey of the day for Friday, June 2nd goes to a man who is too fat for a fedora, Jason Whitlock. I told you all a couple weeks ago that I would not address Jason Whitlock anymore until he loses 200 pounds, and I'm serious about that, okay? Your Uncle Sharla already told you who and what this guy is. He's a sick, twisted house Negro, the white man's watchdog, who loves to bark and bite black people, and yesterday he was barking at one of his favorite subjects, LeBron James. Now, we all know LeBron James' house was vandalized this week. Someone spray-painted racial slurs on his crib, and LeBron had this to say about it.
And I think back to Emmett Till's mom, actually. It's kind of one of the first things I thought of, and the reason that she had an open casket is because she wanted to show the world what her son went through as far as a hate crime and, you know, being black in America. No matter how much money you have, no matter how famous you are, no matter how many people admire you, being black in America is tough.
Now, the man who is too fat for a fedora, Jason Whitlock, said this.
LeBron, to me here, is embracing his victimhood. This is not the racism that needs to be stamped out in America. This is an inconvenience for LeBron. Someone spray painting something on a millionaire's home.
He's not a victim in that situation?
Hell no.
He was victimized?
Well, it's nothing, Chris. It wasn't that big of a deal. If someone denies you an opportunity, you can't go to school here, you can't have this, you can't have that. That is the impact of racism.
Okay,
LeBron was inconvenienced, and racism affects the poor, the very wealthy, and for him to sit here and say, no matter where you are, it's tough being black. It ain't tough being LeBron James. It ain't tough being Oprah Winfrey. The wealthy have regardless of color, have a far better chance of overcoming whatever unfairness happens to them than people that are not wealthy. This man getting spray painted on his front door that he never saw, his staff cleaned up, it's an inconvenience. It's not racism. It's not being denied a job.
It is racism.
He
They didn't spray paint jerk on his door.
He can speak out and say, you know what, this was terrible. Whoever these individuals were, it was stupid. But the people that really are impacted by this are the poor people who face discrimination.
What? Now, if I spray paint a fat ass in a fedora lives here on Jason Whitlock's pig pen, not only is it vandalism, not only is it a terrible inconvenience, it's also fat shaming. Yes, LeBron James is rich, and if someone spray paints the N-word on his mansion, that's racism. You know what? Let me shut up. I told you all that I'm not engaging with Jason Whitlock until he loses 200 pounds, but that doesn't mean I can't use my platform to let other people engage with him, because we can't let that kind of rhetoric just sit out there, because there's people out there who don't know any better, who believe the nonsense that comes out of Jason Whitlock's mouth. So I have my OG on the phone, someone who is way more smarter than me, someone I love to hear from, Mr. Michael Eric Dyson. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you. You know, I listen to Jason Whitlock. I mean, you all are brilliant and insightful, and you are equally capable as I am of responding, but let me bear that burden this morning. Jason Whitlock's argument tries to pin racism on its victim, not its perpetrator. So that if a Nazi, a skinhead, a white supremacist, or a Ku Klux Klan member happens to burn the house of a person making less than $14,000 for 5 people a year, then Mr. Whitlock would suggest that's racism. But if the person happens to make more than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 million a year, then the intent of the Ku Klux Klanner is nullified by the economic status of the victim. How ludicrous that is, as Mike Tyson might say. That is as Mike Tyson might say, that's one of the most ludicrous arguments one might imagine. It is not the status of the person who is aimed at by the racist that makes the act racist. It is the intent of the perpetrator. And the intent of scribbling on the fence of or on the property of LeBron James signifies its racist intent. So Jason Whitlock misses the entire ship here, and it's an attempt to placate and satisfy white people's conscience and soothe them to believe that only those who are the very poorest are the victims of the racial animus that is continually unleashed in American society. And Jason Whitlock is a mouthpiece through a ventriloquist act for white supremacy itself.
Thank you, Mr. Michael Eric Dyson. I really appreciate you this morning, my brother. Please give the fat ass in the fedora, Jason Whitlock, the biggest hee-haw, please.